bring into the conversation now, on the back of that, the ANC's subcommittee on international relations. The deputy chairperson is Obed Bapela, who joins me in studio this evening. Mr. Bapela, good evening to you, and thank you very much.
Good evening to you and your viewers.
Thanks indeed for making time for this conversation. Let's start with the official position of the ANC on the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh.
It's very much unfortunate, regrettable that Israel decided to hunt leaders and kill them. And that obviously will not bring an end to the conflict in Palestine. Neither will it bring an end for quest for freedom by the people of Palestine. They must learn from us. How many leaders were killed in South Africa, but the struggle continued. So rather than kill the leader, let's find this solution that has been provided, first by the ICJ, the court itself, but also the long-term resolution of Israel existing side by side with Palestine, where there's no conflict, and then all sharing Jerusalem as the city or the capital.
Yeah.
So that resolution is the only thing that will really end this particular conflict, but killing of leaders will not take us anywhere.
We'll come back on what you are saying, that Israel has hunted down Haniyeh and killed him, because so far, unless I've completely missed it, Israel has yet to take responsibility, if at all. But I'd like to still focus the attention on the ANC. Why have you not put out a statement to this effect, or on the murder of Ismail Haniyeh? Is there something that we should read into that?
Well, there's nothing to read, and the NEC of the ANC finished a meeting yesterday, and there will definitely be a press conference where the Secretary General, Libyan Nationals, will then be giving the resolutions. Included, obviously, is this matter of the killing of the Hamas leader, Haniyeh, and I think the ANC will express itself fully there, but definitely we condemn the killing, and it's so regrettable, as I said. But also for Israel to go about hunting leaders and killing them instead of looking for a solution and persuading a negotiated way, because the ANC believes that in every conflict, it has to end in some negotiations, one or the other. And Israel is disregarding the ICJ directives also. It continues to bomb Gaza as it is doing. And then America then embraces that leader when he visited America, who is hunted and wanted by the ICC. We know that they will say they are not signatory to it, but it does not send a very good message, because Middle East is now tense and on the brink of an escalation which might be wider and uncontrollable war. And we hope it does not trigger a long-term war, because we are still dealing with another war elsewhere. So we have been warning that let's not go that route, because the world really needs peace now, and no more the wars that are going on.
Some people will read into the non-issuing of a statement after a killing of such a high-profile leader. A Hamas delegation was in South Africa. I think this was somewhere towards the end of 2023.
Yeah, they were here.
I'm happy you're able to confirm that. Yes, Mr. Haniyeh did not and has never set foot in South Africa, but a Hamas delegation, as I said,
high-powered delegation was here.
Indeed. And so some people may read into that the ANC is reticent on doing this because of the GNU, but also perhaps not wanting to upset the GNU partners, and therefore you want to thread carefully. Would that reading be correct?
No, the reading is not correct. On the stand on international relationship, the GNU had said that we will still continue to pursue international relation matters on human rights issues. And then I think when we speak about Palestine, there's issues of human rights. Also to pursue international relations on constitutionalism, but also pursue international relations to fulfill the AU 2063 agenda and then the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and then also to continue to pursue our national interest. So that element of solidarity with the oppressed people of Palestine and Western Sahara remains a solidarity that will continuously continue. As you have seen, some provinces have even taken up campaigns on the inclusion of Israel in the Olympics. So the ANC was there on the streets last week, even before the death, and then the death then happened. And our Minister of International Relations, Comrade Lamwela, was there in the installing of the new president, and he almost stayed close proximity to where this person was killed. So each time when he was standing yesterday in the meeting, but usindile. So one could understand that, because he only landed in Dubai only to hear that somebody was killed almost close to proximity to that environment. So we are still with the people who are oppressed in Palestine and Western Sahara, and then against the blockade in Cuba. That programs will continue because it's in pursuance of the human rights that we say will continuously engage. So it is the matter that the GNU will not disagree on those issues. Where we might have differences, obviously, we'll talk, we'll engage, but we are not leaving BRICS as a member. And then they will then say there are countries that are not practicing human rights, but we are looking at our national interest. In the BRICS, we've got China is the biggest. And then we've got Russia, obviously, in a war that is taking place in Ukraine. We will continue to pursue for peace in that particular area, because one of the resolutions of the GNU is pursuance of settling conflicts anywhere in the world where they are happening. And in Israel and Palestine is one of the issues that we may differ on tactics, we may differ on strategies, but the goal and the objective is the same.
Let me ask you this question differently, perhaps. You are now in a GNU, and I'd like for us to be categorically clear here. What the ANC does outside of government, that's the ANC's decision prerogative.
Yes.
But when you are in government, you now have to accommodate your GNU partners in the event that the Democratic Alliance and the Patriotic Alliance, who seem to have taken a stance on the Israel-Hamas conflict, and they say to you, we are a bit uncomfortable about the South African government approach going to the ICJ where you've accused the Jewish state of genocide against the people of Palestine. How do you accommodate your partners in that regard?
Well,
that's where I want for this conversation to be focused.
No, definitely we'll continue that program of the ICJ until Israel complies. And then obviously engagement towards this genocide conclusion, because the ICJ has not yet concluded to say it's definitely genocide. We'll continue. And then we have been supported by quite a number of countries around that. The GNU partners, if they are not happy, well, obviously that's the cause, because we are the largest party, yes, in a GNU, and the agreements that have been signed in the statement of intent will honor them. But obviously on international relations, we had put these cards before to say, this is where we are, this is what we are going to be doing and continue. But we will also be engaging with other people who are saying, outside of South Africa, who are saying, South Africa, please, we might call you or invite you to be a peace broker. South Africa has always taken that opportunity, that even if we side with the oppressed people in that particular conflict, it does not mean the principle of finding a negotiating settlement, which the GNU definitely will also support, and it might be the path to go. Because we are not in conflict with Israel, we are not fighting them. We are just saying what we are doing to the Palestinian is not okay. Let's go back to what was the original agreement on the settlement of the Palestinian question. And we are all home and dry, and we can now pursue the world peace order, a just world order that we all want, which is equitable and fair. But for so long as anyone oppresses the others, and obviously will side with the oppressed. And those who do not want to side with the oppressed, they'll express their views, but within the GNU, there will be talks and engagement, because there's a formula of where there are disagreements, then whoever is aggrieved with whatever position, they can go and put it in the meetings there.
In conversation with the ANC Deputy Chairperson of the Subcommittee on International Relations, and we are discussing the Middle East conflict. Let's remind you what countries like France have had to say to their citizens, urging them, the ones who live in Lebanon, to leave the country whilst there still is the opportunity. The Foreign Ministry saying those in the country should take advantage of commercial flights which are still available. Now, a number of carriers have stopped operations there. Air France, for example, and its affiliate Transavia, announcing that flights remain suspended between Paris and Beirut until at least Tuesday. All right, Mr. Bapela, let's pick up on that. This fear of a wider Middle East conflict. How do you think things are going to pan out now with two very prominent assassinations?
Definitely is a worrisome, and the fear is real now. And we have been warning, even when we took Israel to the ICJ, that the ceasefire is the way to go. If you remember, it was really to say Israel should stop the killings and there must be ceasefire, and we are not being listened to. Now it has escalated to a point of a brink of wider escalation in the Middle East. Itself not so stable, itself with so many enemies surrounding Israel. And I know that the US is pumping guns and money into that particular environment to say we'll defend Israel if anyone threatens to attack. But we really should have avoided this thing. War is not necessary. In this current period where people have weapons that can massively destroy each other. And I don't think that is the route to go. As the African National Congress, we still believe in what the Freedom Charter says, peace, clause 10 that talks about peace, in the friendship and peace. And that says every conflict must be negotiated at the end through engagement, talks, dialogues, so that we could then. But we start with the ceasefire.
Yeah.
And that thing has not been respected by Israel, unfortunately. And now it's leading to this situation where now citizens have to evacuate of other nations, and others will start announcing. So it means, therefore, it's a preparation of a war that might just sprung on us, and not in modern day, not in this century. I hope at some point leaders will have to pause and say, let's go for this ceasefire.
Do you believe that the ANC, as you intimated earlier, it's not a new position or it's not a new belief? Previously you've said that the ANC is available if indeed called upon, or perhaps through its government, to be a mediator in this. And I ask you this question, reminded now of that contentious phone call, or should we call it controversial phone call, between the former Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, with Ismail Haniyeh. This was now on the back of the October 7 attacks on Israel. Do you believe that indeed the ANC could be seen by both sides as an honest broker, either the ANC or the ANC-led government of national unity?
Well, the ANC or the GNU-led government, if invited to participate in the brokering of peace, it will take that advantage, definitely, because we believe in ending any conflicts with dialogue. The call by the former minister, Comrade Naledi Pandor, she did explain it, that it was in line with getting passage for the relief, because after such an attack, and obviously with the October 7 have happened, what is it? And you need to find out from those people who are accused or alleged to have done it. So as we'll always do when the other aggrieves or provokes, we'll then go to them and say, what is the issue? Why are you resorting to these particular mechanisms? So there was nothing unto it, and there was nothing that says the call means we support Hamas. No, it was more a conversation to really understand and say, with these attacks now that were taking place as Israel got provoked, so there are people who are suffering, and we needed a passage to really see relief arriving at those destinations to help save lives.
The ANC, the question I want to ask here is that the ANC has said that indeed it wants for this war to come to an end. How do you do that? And how do you drive a message where you are going to be listened to, even by the Israelis, given the stance that the country has taken against the Israeli state? Perhaps I want to ask the question that the ANC, have you not pushed the envelope too far, perhaps to a point of no return when it comes to the Israeli government?
We did condemn the October attack by Hamas as alleged on the citizens of Israel, and we really did condemn it, and we do not support that particular action. And same as the reaction by Israel in a massive way, where almost over 1,000 people are now dead, continuously bombing, killing children, killing women, and then destroying buildings. So what made us to go to the ICJ was the devastating element of it, that it was now being escalated like wiping off the Palestinians off. And it was a human gesture to say, can this thing stop, a ceasefire? Can the ICJ investigate if Israel is not committing genocide? Because what we are seeing now is the genocide that is unfolding in front of our eyes. And I think that was humanly to say, this war is going too far. Let's arrest it before it escalates, it goes wider. And if the ceasefire had been agreed to, yeah, both sides have lost lives, and then we could be somewhere where we are now able to. And I think that has been the intention of the ANC, to see ceasefire, negotiations taking place, and if included in the negotiations by a broader groups that are part of the negotiations, because in that table is not going to be the ANC alone. So we will be participating. And I know that the tensions between us and Israel have worsened. We don't talk to each other. They are angry with us. But brokering peace has always been the objective. Yeah. How that objective is ceasefire. If ceasefire does not come, you go to the ICJ, as we did, to say there's a genocide going on there now. It's no longer a reaction to something that has happened. It has gone wider. Children are dying, women are dying, houses have been destroyed, places have been bombed. And that in itself warranted somebody to stand. And hence, a lot of countries started joining us to say, you were right by really taking this matter. It's not against Israel as a state. We still support the two-state solution. We have never anywhere said that because of that, therefore the state of Israel should not exist. Yeah. No, we have never said so.
As a final thought on this matter, the stated position of the South African government, it's very clear. South Africa does not have a relationship with Hamas. It has a relationship with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, yes, the PLO.
Yes.
That brings about the question then to the ANC. What is the nature of your relationship with Hamas?
Well, historic relationships, as we have correctly said, is Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, all these years. We are together in the trenches. wherever we were training our soldiers, they trained together with their soldiers. Hamas emerged later in life to tweak a course of the struggle for the Palestinians. But we've never had any formal relationship organization to organization. However, because they are a subject matter in coming and bringing ceasefire, we are talking to them around that persuasion, but also to get to know to them when they were in South Africa, the two-state solution, does it still exist in their minds? And we're persuading them that that solution will have to continue. And they said to us, they no longer believe in it. It's a dead thing. But if people of Palestine can then determine and say, this is what we want, they say they are servants of the people, they will listen to what the people want. So that is their stand, but we are continuously engaging to persuade them towards that direction, because after the ceasefire, there ought to be talks and negotiations for the final solution on Palestine question.
Let's change course then and bring matters more domestic. I'd like to talk about the question of illegal immigration in South Africa. Do you believe that to be a threat to national security, the number of illegal foreigners in our country?
Well, definitely they are a threat to our national security. There are quite many, and we don't even know who they are. And then they are not in any system where they are captured because they came illegally because of the porous borders. And this is a worrying matter that the citizens have raised. And then we can't ignore the cries of our people around it. Hence, the engagement is towards the changing of the laws that has South Africa signed in 1951, which sort of had allowed at the time when the apartheid wanted cheap labor, recruiting it from the neighborhood, and then that cheap labor brought in their own people, and it just spiraled and spiraled up to now. So we definitely have to then change course and say, what is it that we're going to do? The executive cluster of the GNU will definitely be seized with this particular issue. And then as the ANC is already seized with it, to then begin to develop a commonness around it. Yeah. But obviously people say, Mabahambe, but it's not going to be just a solution itself. It's multiple issues that we need to look at. First, the law. Secondly, the porous borders. Thirdly, who are they and where they are, so that we could then begin really to engage even the SADC region and then the Africa continent to say it's now becoming a situation that we really need to find common solutions to engage those countries that has bigger citizens here to say we will have to really move to regularize or whatever are the outcomes and decisions. I do not want to preempt.
There are 95 Libyan nationals who are going to appear in court on Monday. This is for them lying on their visas. They came here under the guise that they are students who are here to train to be security guards. Do you believe that South Africa's ambassador to Tunisia has serious questions to answer to, particularly around the authorization of the visas of these nationals?
Well, a person arrives at the embassy and the papers are in order. These are the people, the pictures indicates who they are. The purpose of the mission definitely is what they ought to look at, because you get the visa for holiday visits, you get the visa to study, you get the visa to work. So if any of the three are part of the reasons, obviously the visas were then given to those people. But as to whether the training institution was described and whether there should have been a further investigation as to whether such institution exists. So obviously the ambassador through DECO, at the time when we are able to interview the Minister of International Relations or the Minister of Home Affairs, they might then have a preview as to what exactly happened when they were granted those permits. But a person can be granted permits under those three conditions, a visa in particular. So I do not know what really happened at the point of them being approved.
Obed Bapela, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.